Okay, hello go-getters. I just hope you are doing good. So, in this video, I want to show you these questions which are based on function. Determine the equation of the straight line through the points, through this point and. So the question says that determine the equation for a straight line. For a straight line. Do you understand? So what you should know when they talk about a straight line, you should know that a straight line, it has this equation it's mx plus or minus c. Do you see? Which is this equation. You can also represent it in different ways. Do you see? Yeah. But what matters is that knowing that what is in this position, it is a gradient, and here it is the y-intercept or vertical shift. Yeah. So now, for us to identify the equation of a straight line, it means that you should know the gradient and also a y-intercept. So to know the gradient, we know the equation for gradient says that it's change in y over change in x, and change in y, it's y2 minus y1, and change in x, it's x2 minus x1, which is this thing. Now when you substitute it become like this, x2m. So please take note, this is the equation for what? For a gradient. So we can apply this equation first to know the gradient. So now to apply this equation, we've got these 2 points, which is this one, it's 0.1 and 0.2. So what you should know, this one will say it's 0.1 and this one it's 0.2. So now when you substitute here, you just do this thing: open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, and this minus this one, this sign, they are between there. Do you see? Yeah. So now when I substitute, I know here that by it's 0.1, meaning 0.1 will be here, and I know that 0.2 it's there, meaning this one must be here. So now when I substitute, I'll say x and y, and I'll say x and y. So and here I got m. So now when you punch this thing on calculator, you will get this one, it's 1 over 2. I'm sure you'll get 1 over 2, which is 0.5. Do you see? Please take a screenshot, then try these questions. So now we know the gradient. So once we know the gradient, we can go back from this equation, mx plus or minus c. Because we know now the gradient, let's substitute the gradient there. It's 1 over 2. So here it's x plus c and y. So here what I want you to notice is that in order for us to know this thing, the y-intercept, we must know the point which is x and y, the point that we can substitute it here and also there. So once we know these two values, we can solve this thing. Do you see? Remember that, guys, we must have only one unknown value in the equation. Do you understand? So here we'll have this one unknown value, because this one we know it. Do you see? Yeah. So what we can do now, from this question, they said that determine the equation of the straight line through the points, through these 2 points. So it means this thing, it will be a line like this, and that there is these 2 points, which is 3, and also here 1. Yeah. And what I want you to recognize is that the gradient is positive, so the shape will be like this, which has a positive gradient. Yeah. So if you know the gradient, if you know the gradient, in order for you to solve the y-intercept, you must take any point in that straight line. Do you understand? You can even repeat the point, take this one, or you can take that one. So at this case, I can even take this one if I want to. So let me substitute this one, 1, 2. So when I substitute there, my y, it's 2. My y is 2 and 1 over 2. Then my x now it's 1, and here I'll just say plus c. So all the time say plus c. Then after saying plus, to solve that unknown value, you punch this thing from calculator to make it simple. You'll find out that you get 2, which is 0.5 plus c. So take this thing on other side, it become 2, which is equal to c. Meaning now your c, now when you punch on your calculator, it will be equal to 1.5. It's 1.5. So which is this thing? C is equal to 1.5. Then 1.5, I don't know, okay guys, because now I don't have a calculator. You can just change it into a fraction. So now to substitute on your equation, you can just say your equation will become like mx plus c or minus. But you know the gradient is that 1 over 2. And now you know the y-intercept, it's positive 1.5, which is this thing, it's y. So the final equation can now, it becomes y, it's equal to, if you want to, you can put it in fraction format, this thing, and that one, or in decimal, say 0.5x plus 1.5. Yeah. So if you want to, you can leave your answer in what? In fraction format or in decimal. But it is good when you leave it in what? In fraction format. But for me, the reason why I leave it like this, it's because now I don't have a calculator. So you can just try to figure it out by yourself. Leave it in what? In fraction. Do you understand? Yeah. So you can just take a screenshot there. So in order for you to form the equation, you should know that you have to know the what? The gradient, and know the what? The y-intercept. Do you understand? Once you know them, now you'll be done. Then to get the gradient, we use this equation. Do you see? We use this equation. Then now to get the y-intercept, we can substitute the gradient there. So once you know the gradient, you can solve this thing by taking any point in the equation. Then substitute and solve. Let's see. Yeah. So now let me move forward. Here's another question. So this one says that find the intersect on the x and y axis of the line. So this line now, this thing, we can see its equation is this one, 0.5x plus 1.5. So if you want to draw this graph, so let me draw it with free hand. It will be something like this. So here I'm drawing without calculation, then I will do the calculation. So this graph, if we can draw its matter function is something like this. It has a positive gradient, which is x. Do you see? Here it's only x. And the moment now I decrease the gradient, this thing, it will approach the x values. When I decrease a positive gradient, which is 0.5x. Do you see? Here I just decrease the positive gradient. So I'm trying to draw this thing. Do you see? Yeah. Then after I draw this thing, let me just apply the shift. Remember this thing, it is the vertical shift. So it says that if it is positive, it shift up, but if it is negative, it shift down. But this one, it is positive, it will shift up. Do you understand? By how many units? By 1,5. So this thing will go up, become this point would be here. Then if the other points here like this, so this thing, when it shift upward, it will just become something like this. It will become something like this. Yeah, do you see? And now here it's 0,5x plus 1,5. Yeah, so this is the graph that you must have at the end when you draw it. And you can see the gradient, it's positive. Then it's positive, the gradient. This one, I say it's your head. So you can see the gradient, it's positive. Even the shape, it's similar with the one which is positive. Do you see? And now here, it will shift upwards by these units, which means it will intersect here. Now, and there on that point, it's 1,5. Do you see? Yeah. And that 1,5, it tells you a what? It tells you a y-intercept. So now let me just try to erase this thing. Yeah. So again, now you can erase this thing. Erase it. Yeah. And leave the graph that you want to draw. Do you see here? It is the y-intercept. And the graph, it is positive gradient. So as you can see, so the question, it needs us to find the intercept on the x and the y axis of the line. So it needs for this intersect, where it intersect. So here we must calculate the y-intercept, and the y-intercept it is when like our x equal to 0 there. Do you see? And also we must also calculate the x-intercept where y is equal to 0. And here, guys, we are solving. So this one, you just substitute. Here you just substitute and determine the answer. Yeah. So we got this equation now, 0,5x plus 1,5. Even though you know that your y is equal to 1,5. But to prove it, you can just substitute by 0, and plus 1, substitute by 0 there. Do you see? So it means this thing, it will give this thing, it's 0, all this thing. Then your answer that you'll get there, it will be positive 15. Positive 15. You can even press on your calculator, all this thing. Try to simplify this thing. When you simplify, you change a big thing to a small thing. So you can press it from calculator, will get that answer. Do you see? So again, now when it comes here, now we must solve here. We got this equation, 0,5x plus 1,5. So here what we have to do, substitute where there is y is equal to 0, 0,5x plus 0,5. So take this thing on other side. So this thing on other side, it become like negative 1,5, 0,5x. And now you know what is in front from what you need to divide by 8. Divide by 8. So this thing, it will cancel. Then we'll get your value for what? For x there. Do you see? And the value that you got there, so I don't have a calculator, but let me just try to. So then now I find out when I press this thing, it gives me -3. And that -3, it will help you to identify the coordinate of this thing, meaning the coordinates of this thing now will be x and y, which is -3 and 0. This one, it is the what? The x-intercept. Then the y-intercept, now it will be here, it's when it's 0, meaning now it's x and y. So here it's 0 and 5. Do you see most this thing? Yeah. So if you can notice, x-intercept we are solving where there is y, we substitute 0 and tear this thing on other side, and now we know what is in front from what we need, we divide by it. So the final answer for this thing, you find out that when it is being simplified is this one. Do you see? So meaning the coordinates is this thing, and here's another coordinates for y. So now when you want to plot this thing from the graph, you can see here it's -3, and this point, this one is the one which is 0 and -3, and here it's equal to 0 and 1,5. Yeah, so I hope you can see, guys, these points. Yeah, so this thing is not that difficult. Here the question was looking for what? Intersect on the x and y axis of the line. So the intersect will be this point. You see, it will intersect on those points. So now let me go with this one. So with this one, guys, it's straightforward. It needs you to explain. So is the line in A parallel to the line y or y not? So here you have to identify that is the line in A. The line in A, its equation, it was 0,5x plus 1,5. Is the line in A parallel to the line y? Y or y not? So what I want you guys to notice is that this equation, just rearrange it, write it in this format, because y is positive and also 2 is positive. Do you see? So now if you can notice here, the gradient of this thing, it is invisible one. Yeah, so this thing, it is the gradient, and this one, it is c. So the reason why I rearranged this thing in order, it's because I want to show you that if you can compare their gradients are not the same. So the gradient of this one, so this line, let me just name it this one as g of x. Yeah, this one is g of x. So if I can say the gradient of y, it's not equal to the gradient of what? Of g of x. So you can say, therefore, so like, as you can see that the gradient of this thing, it's not equal to the gradient of that one. So therefore, it means that line y, okay, let me write it down. So line y x plus it is not parallel with line g of x, which is 0,5x plus. So the reason why you say it's not parallel, it's because the gradient of y, it's not equal to the gradient of g of x. Do you see? Yeah, so this thing, you can just write it in words if you want to, yeah, or you can leave it like that. So this question, it was based on identifying the what? Yeah, identifying the gradient, that is it the gradient of this thing and that one the same. You see, is the line in A parallel to the line? So is this line parallel with that one? So it's like you have to compare their gradient. Are they the same? Yeah, you should also know that, guys, like two lines, if these two lines are parallel, let me say it's line A and line B, C, D, E. So if I got these lines, do you see these lines? And the distance and the distance between this line, it's equal. It means that this thing, it's parallel with that one. Do you see? So since EC, it's parallel to AB, therefore the gradient of EC will be equal to the gradient of AB. Do you see? So this is what we're supposed to know in this question. Yeah. So I hope guys you did understand this question and try to screenshot this thing. Just put NP. So parallel lines, they have equal gradient. Do you see? Yeah, you should know that. Thank you.